Ah, Hoopa, everyone's favorite supporter. This character is super weird, but he's so good in this game that most people consider him the best supporter. He's not very direct in the way he supports. It's really unorthodox. In fact, there are ways that he supports that are so subtle that if you don't know exactly how he works, you might miss them entirely. This is why I've struggled with Hoopa on my teams so much up until this point. I know that if you practice a lot, you can be really good with Hoopa compositions, right? Well, the problem with Hoopa is its skill isn't capped just by how skilled the Hoopa player is. You really want the entire team of 5 to be on board with the Hoopa plays. And that's one thing that I always found stressful as a player, thinking, and I'm already trying to focus so hard on playing my Pokemon as perfectly as possible, that I don't even have room to try and fit in how to play around someone else's Pokemon that effectively, if that makes any sense. Now, Hoopa has a lot of advantages, right? But mostly it comes down to mobility, the amount of space control that it gives your team. Showing up in places faster than you would have been able to without the Hoopa, and leaving and coming back at full health later because of the Hoopa. It's a form of healing. It's, albeit, really unique in the way it happens. And I think now that we've been practicing a little bit, I'm finally starting to get a little bit more comfortable with Hoopa. But of course, I'm not the Hoopa player. That is Thundertoes. I am here playing a good old tank, like what I'm used to. And this time, it happens to be Slowbro. Now, Slowbro recently got nerfed, and that's part of the reason why I'm playing it here. You can tell by the banners at the top right of everyone's names that we're spanning across 3 different ranks here, so we are naturally in Standard. That's because we're practicing, right? Thundertoes is practicing with Hoopa, I am practicing playing alongside Hoopa, and I really wanted to test exactly how much weaker Slowbro is after the Amnesia nerfs. So, here we go on to the recording, the gameplay. Titos and I are both carrying the Exp.Share here, so we decide to split lanes. He's going top, I'm going bottom. And it's this Mewtwo that he gets as a lane partner here. Everything looks okay up until this point. Nothing crazy to see here, we're just getting farm. And here we split off. You always go for the middle farm rather than the ones closer to your goal, because that's the one that can be more easily secured by the allies. But the Mewtwo doesn't seem to get the idea. And he's staying back there, and now potentially trying to stop the Snorlax from stacking, but Snorlax and the Zorua get a stack on him. The Snorlax goes and it looks like takes the Bunnelby. So this is kind of a mess here. Thundertoes was able to secure the mid Bunnelby, but we basically lost the experience that we had gained by losing that Bunnelby and getting 2 scores off on us. Of course, early game stacking is very hard to stop. If you're carrying 5 or even 10 or less energy, you can just keep hitting that score button and eventually it'll go through because it's such little energy that it's very hard to interrupt. We get a gank from the Gabite here. Oh my goodness, Thundertoes barely missing that Zorua. I think he commented on this in the game, but I didn't understand what he meant. We go back here. You can see on the very rightmost side of the screen that he barely misses this Zorua that was at a sliver of HP. Oh, tragic. Oh, I remember this Glaceon was giving us a lot of trouble with its Icicle Spear. Icicle Spear is the move that just recently got buffed again. It was the one that they had nerfed back when Glaceon was way too good. And it seems pretty good again. They only had to bump it up a little bit for it to start feeling pretty dominant. But I think it's in a good place. It doesn't seem overtuned to me, at least not as of my current opinion. Alright, so we just hit level 5. This is good. Mewtwo is trying to steal that Bunnelby. Couldn't quite tell if he got it. I think he's carrying the same amount of energy as he was before. Slowbro starts healing there, but he doesn't get any help from his lane partner, so he dies anyway. All is good. Now, Hoopa has this move called... oh shoot, what's it called? Hyperspace Hull? That does a lot of things. It one of the coolest things it does is connect two different goal zones so that you can teleport from one and get to the other side of the map, right? So when your team has a Hoopa, it becomes slightly more important than usual to conserve that first goal, because that's extra transportation that you're losing if the enemies destroy it. So that's something really interesting that I hadn't really thought too much of before. But here we are, suddenly in the bottom lane. Now, I called out to Tito's here when he showed up, or when that portal showed up, and I said, "What's up? Do you want me to head up?" And he says, "No, we're here to cause some chaos. We're here to take names." Sure enough, we wipe the bottom laners and are on our way to secure that objective. Doesnos' job is done down there. We have three of us taking that objective, so he's gonna zone here and do his best to apply pressure so that the enemy team can't take this Regieleki easily. And here he's... Oh, just about showed up in time. I can't tell if that was a little bit late or a little bit early, but the Glaceon out-secures him. And the rest of the team gets here a little bit late, but maybe not so, because if you kill the Regieleki, then it didn't deal any damage to you, right? That's why we prioritize the bottom Regi, because of that guaranteed advantage. And we've got a Garchomp now. Thundertoes is not that Garchomp this game. But we did recently both reach Master with our regular Crustle and Garchomp mains here. This was after that was achieved. We were just practicing some stuff for future use. Another cool ability of Hoopa's is the ability to send you to teleport you back home, so you get the super fast spawn zone healing, but then with the ability to teleport back if you catch it quickly enough. Good jukes here from the Cinderace. There's not a lot to be fighting for on the map right now that I can tell. It looks like a lot of people are just gathering experience. Now here they dive pretty hard. The Glaceon unleashes its Unite move. I really like this. The Zoroark was just scoring here. Hoopa teleports straight to him, just taps him on the shoulder and stops him from scoring. Whoops, I went back too far. Check this out, they dive right here, Glaceon unites, Zoroark goes back to score, Hoopa teleports right to him, boop, stops the score, and almost dies here. Wow, lives with a sliver. Puts up a portal to send himself home, and I think he stays here to get the most out of this healing. Oh, nope, he comes right back. Oof, and this time it's us who went straight for this goal. Ah, Hoopa sets up a portal to send the team down again, to prioritize that bottom Regi. Now here he wants to kind of assassinate anyone who shows up here. He sees the Zoroark. Oh, and this is the Hoopa Unite move, Hoops Unbound, I believe it's called. It has the power to not only go huge and become a stronger attacker, but it also gives everyone on the map, on your team, the ability to teleport to your location, which is really good for fights like these. I especially like the time that it's being used, because this is enough time to give the Unite move for it to allow for it to come back by the time the Ray fight is up, right? We're easily able to overpower that Registeel. Made short work of the Zoroark. I think maybe Thundertoes was thinking about getting those birds on that side of the map or possibly scoring, but sees that, nope, they still haven't taken the top Regi, so we might as well fight for it. We show up here, flip this fight. And now we can start the rip. It was really nice having both Garchomp and Cinderace in this game, because both of these Pokemon have really strong damage against objectives, so we're able to win them really, really quickly. Here, this is an interesting push. it doesn't end up working too well because we weren't prepared for how well they were going to defend this. And in fact, the Snorlax makes a ridiculously good play here. Now, we see it afterward, but if we flip perspectives, we can see exactly what he did at this time. Here is where we were making the push, right? Now I'm on Slowbro. We gang up on this Blaziken here. Kill the Blaziken. Check out what this Snorlax does. He turns on his X speed, runs straight past the Slowbro, and goes for that Cinderace. He knows what's going to damage that team, and he wants to get rid of that Cinderace. I'm chasing down the Slowbro, but there's nothing I can do. Controls the Cinderace and just takes him out. He unites here, so I leave him alone. And I come over here and see if there's any more I could do on this side. But there isn't. The Blaziken has time to come back and kill me alongside the Glaceon. Very clever move by the Snorlax there. And I actually thought that Thundertoes had died in this exchange. Turns out Thundertoes had not died. We can see him here from his perspective on this Hoopa. The Garchomp goes down here. We almost get the Glaceon. Our Cinderace gets killed, and now the Snorlax comes down to try and kill the Hoopa, who uses his portal, yes, maybe? Puts down a portal and takes it home right before it's too late. But this time he decides not to go back. We've definitely lost that fight up there. Now it's time to go conserve our lead. We decided to go bottom because I think I said that's where I was going to go, back to my lane. Maybe the Mewtwo could have used some help against the Absol up there. Here comes the Cinderace, kicking more fireballs. Alright, now we see an objective coming up at the bottom lane. We realize we're in the wrong place. Easy Hoopa portal fix. Already counting down the seconds until the Rayquaza spawns. Of course, if the Rayquaza spawns and this Reggie is still up, the Reggie gets deleted from the map. No one gets him, right? But we use our ridiculously fast rip with Cinderace and Garchomp to steal it. And now we're heading over to the top to win that Rayquaza. We see them scoring at the top, finally breaking our top goal, but at this point, the top goal has done its purpose. It got us so much mobility throughout the game, but right now there's only one place we have to be, and that's the center of the map, to make sure the enemy does not take this Rayquaza. Our levels are looking really good for being Exp.Share users. Getting 12 is really nice, especially considering that Garchomp is level 12, and he was the jungler. Alright, so the fight ends up happening down here. Luckily, I get in the way of it. Now, this was a really cool Hoopa portal, because the Glaceon had come in. He's trying to stay in the back line, but he didn't realize that as soon as I come back, now I'm going to be behind him. So he's going to be surrounded. So he has to dive behind my Slowbro now. He has to get out of the way, which means he can't reach the Mewtwo and Hoopa and Cinderace quite as easily as he could have from the other position. It's a small detail, but I thought it was really interesting. Now here the Snorlax just gets chased upward and just seems to disappear. At least on our camera he disappeared. I don't know what he was doing. But I remember at this point I take my Slowbro and just park him up here where the Ray is. And we just finish off the rip before the enemy can get there. No reason to fight. We can just go and score. Nice little getaway trick there by the Hoopa. Garchomp's getting fought off, but he already scored. He's fine. Now the Slowbro scores, and at this point Thundertoes tells me, oh, you don't have to go home, I can send you home. And so I stay a little bit too long. Maybe I should have backed up quite a bit more, but I get caught out and ripped. That's one of the situations where I think old Slowbro probably would have survived at least a little bit longer. But no worries here. Hoopa goes back home. We have the option of going back, but I don't think anyone wants to. It's just a game of defense now. Cinderace just easily ripped the Zoroark, hides in the bush, gets the Absol by surprise. Absol has its Midnight Slash up, but it doesn't get to kill anyone, and it's too weak to make the best out of these things. Now, one thing that I found really interesting about this game, looking over the final statistics, was this. Look how juicy the stats on this Cinderace look. It got 16 kills, stole the crown with those 16 kills, dealing 79,000 damage, right? It was finished the game at a really high level, even compared to the jungler, right? I'll reiterate again, the jungler was the Garchomp, who ended at level 14. But I was telling Thundertoes, because he was telling me the reason I recorded this game is that that was one of the best Hoopa performances he's had. That was one of the best games involving a Hoopa. And there's a lot of reasons for that, mainly that we understand how Hoopa works as a team a little bit better. Also that our teammates were really good, but also that they were set up to do really well. Let me show you guys what I mean. This was the early game that I played with that Cinderace. Now Cinderace is a little bit of a late game carry Pokemon. He's not as late game as a Tyranitar, he's only a level 7 evolution, but he's really pretty bad before he gets that evolution. Now, Slowbro has been nerfed, yes, but one of the things that hasn't been nerfed is his early game prowess. Now we've all heard how good Inteleon is in the early game in lane. Some pros even call it auto win in lane. Basically it means your secure is so good that you can steal all of the middle farm away from the opponents, right? And that comes a little bit with experience. Not every Sobble is just going to dumpster you in the lane every early game. But I'm noticing that I've been getting really good with the water gun on Slowpoke here, just recognizing when I shoot to kill. So, for example, this first Indeedee, the Torchic goes straight at it and gives me the opportunity to just point, boom, take it from a range where I know I can kill with that water gun. That wasn't the move from the Torchic. So here, we start taking this Indeedee, boom, another water gun, takes it low. I miscalculate a little bit, but that was the safer one. Now here, it's really important to get this middle Indeedee, because that means we've taken both of them, right? If the opponents get this, they've evened things out. They lost the top one, they got the bottom one. This is the middle farm. This is the one that's just as easily contested by one side as it is the other side. Let's see how this fight goes. I throw one basic attack, boom, secured with the water gun. Now we're feeling really good. I was telling Thundertoes, yeah, this feels great. I approach, get this little Baltoy real quick before we go to the mid-birds. Have to make sure to be there on time. 8:50 is when they spawn. Here. The level 5 evolutions are a little bit annoying, because you don't have your evolution by the time the birds spawn, even with an Exp.Share user in your lane. But we're about to change that, because we only need one of these birds to evolve this little score bunny. So I'm really hoping to make it happen, especially because the opponents still have a Torchic. So they're doing even worse than we are. Look at their laners, Absol and Torchic. On the right side you can see they're both level 3. And we are both level 4, and I have an Exp.Share. So the secure has been really good from us this game. Here come the birds. Gotta time my Scald. I don't know if we got any of those, but we can get this big one. Yeah, let's check real quick. I was at 21. I was carrying 21, and the Score Bunny was carrying 9. After the bird exchange, I go to 23, 25. So Slowbro Scald, really good secure here. We actually missed the big one. Alright. But up comes the middle Indeedee again. Are we going to take it for a second time? Absolutely we are. And now we get our Raboot. The Torchic is just now getting to level 4. We've barely lost anything that's come up in the middle of the map at this point. This is what I meant by setting up our opponents for greatness, right? Again, they just leave that farm ripe for the taking. Look at how much energy this Slowbro is carrying. Oh, here I use my eject button to get close to the Absol. I was actually surprised how quickly that Scald brought him down. Scald is not one of the things that was nerfed about Slowbro. My damage is just as good as it's ever been, especially with a level advantage. So now I'm seeing this Torchic, I'm like, there's no way this Torchic is defending this goal from both of us. So now it's the time to go in. I didn't want to dive. We had opportunities to goal dive them before, but I didn't want to do it while my lane partner was still a Score Bunny. I wanted this level advantage so that we could catch at least one of them out of position. Now there's nothing this Torchic can do. I'm wearing the cursed Incense. Even on its pad, its healing will be debuffed. there's no chance that he comes and defends this. So his play here is to run away. And he actually doesn't do that. He dives straight for us, which actually makes things a lot simpler. And that's 43 we get to score, right below the 8-minute mark. This is huge domination at the bottom lane. So when we see those huge numbers at the very end, when the Cinderace shows up to the Ray fight at level 13, at a higher level than the jungler, I remember, hey, we had that bottom lane completely controlled with the power of Slowbro's Water Gun and Scald. And that's a beautiful thing to see, honestly. It's one of those ways that is really subtle, but the experience of a player really shows. And I'm glad that I finally do have some experience on Slowbro. I wouldn't mind continuing to grind for that green ribbon on this guy, just to show he is one of my favorite Pokemon, even after the nerfs. I still dig him. Now here, I was chasing the Snorlax, but I figured, whatever, I guess he disappeared. Might as well make sure I'm here to secure the Rayquaza. And sure enough, the fast bro gets it again. We already know how this one ends, but as always, I'd like to thank you guys for watching this. This was an awesome Hoopa game. Hoping we can only get better from here with Hoopa. And hoping we can get some really good gameplay, stealing some wins from some really good opponents in the future. But for now, this is an excellent start. Again, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.